Hey, what's happening, guys? Today I just wanted to go over why I returned my E-2W GT electric scooter. First of all, it was kind of everything I wanted in a scooter. I noticed. I'm gonna point out some of the things I didn't like, but then the things I loved about it, because I probably will buy myself another one. I'll tell you why I returned it. But the things I didn't like about it, first off, were I'm about 208 pounds, 208, and when I stand on it, my right leg, which is in back, I stand like a skateboarder. You have to stand like a skateboarder on this one. You can't go side by side, which I don't normally do anyway, even if I can. I just always, what do they call it, goofy foot. But when I stand that way, this scooter in particular sags a little lower than another scooter because of the type of suspension. I wish the suspension in the back was a little bit tighter so that that would remain balanced. But being that it dips a little lower in back, your weight tends to be all on that one foot. And a 51-year-old guy, a lot of shop floors, stuff like that. Might not bother some of you guys, but for me, it got a little annoying. So I would have to kind of balance my weight, shift my weight to my front leg, which intentionally sometimes makes it uncomfortable. Put my weight back on my back leg. You know what I mean? So it created a problem with that I don't have with other scooters. Some of those don't have suspension, which the suspension on this thing is great. It really is good and makes up for the lack of tires that are giving, because these tires are not giving at all, which also creates traction problems. Very little contact with the road. If you have any other companies that have similar scooters to this, which is Evercross, they have a scooter that's very similar. It's just not as fast. Um, it is a 36 volt as well, which also tells you it's not going to be as fast. They put a warning right in there. Any loose sand, any wet weather, you know, avoid that. You want to take this thing only on like nice clean city roads or a nice clean subdivision. You know, other than that, you're gonna run into some problems. I had a little patch of sand, just loose gravel, and it slid. And if it kept sliding, I wasn't going that fast, but if it kept sliding, I might have wiped out. There was another time where this is right before I returned it. This just about did it for me. It was a little bit wet, which that was kind of dumb on my part to take it out in any wet weather. It wasn't raining, but it was still wet from raining. And we were going over a bridge on a local park trail. So we go over a bridge made of wood, and there's water on it. That thing just slid. The front tire, which is front wheel drive, slid right out from under me. I'm basically hanging onto it with one hand, running to stop myself. I'm lucky I didn't fall, but it slid right out from under me, and I just ran, 4 or 5 steps, and I was stopped. That could have been a lot worse. So I thought, man, these wheels just don't cut it. But you find cleaner roads, ride this thing in particular areas, you'll be okay. Everyday use, like if you ride through a nasty area on your way to work, ride in this thing, this is not designed for that. It may be designed for that. Don't ride it on lousy roads and gravelly areas, wet areas. Just don't do it, because you will run into a problem, especially at a higher speed. You do any kind of a turn at a higher speed on any questionable road, you're going down. And that is pretty much the reason why I returned it. And I'm gonna add in one of the reasons why I returned it. The brake was making like a ticking noise. What a drum brake does, and I know it was a drum brake because what only happened when I pulled the drum brake lever. What would happen is it would make a clicking noise like half of it's working, and I don't know if it's designed that way, because it didn't seem like it did that the whole time. It seemed like maybe a half hour into my ride, it started doing that clicking noise. So I don't know if it was something that was assembled a little lightly on one side, and then it loosened and then started making that clicking noise, or if it's just meant to do that. I don't know. I didn't really get any answers on anybody before returning it. But it was kind of a little bit of a panic on my part. The return window on Amazon started to get pretty close to where I couldn't return it. I mean, without sending it back, having them repair it, then sending it back to me. I didn't want to go through all that mess. I wanted to. I mean, I didn't want to go through that mess if I didn't have to. So I just said, heck with it. I'm going to return it. And then I followed up with them. You know, hey, if it's fine, if that's the way it's supposed to be, you can send it back to me. Apparently, you don't. That doesn't work that way with Amazon. Once you return it, it's the return's going to go through. And if you want it back, you just got to buy a new one, or buy whatever they got. They do have used ones on there, which, you know, if you want to buy a used one from Amazon, the very good ones are like 50 miles or less on them. You know, they'll show very low signs of use. And then one like mine, I returned it with like probably 85 miles on it at most. Because I had a lot of fun with it, man. I won't lie. I had a blast with that thing. That's why I was a little bummed out to return it. But like I say, a little bit of panic. But mine would be more like a like new. It wouldn't be very good. It was a like new. It had a little bit of wear on the foot pad. And like it would be, you know, they consider those less than 200 miles. They have a little brackets they put them in, whatever. So very good is like less than 50 miles. Like new is less than 200. I'm guessing that's what bracket mine would have been put in. And if somebody bought that for, which is $849, that would be the bracket. It'd be a very good deal, especially if the brake is in proper working order. Which, like I say, I did not know that, whether that was good or not. It sounded like a clicking noise to me, like half of it was working and half wasn't, and that's not good. Because what if those pieces in there bind up some way? Then you're stuck with the brake on, and I mean, who knows? That might not be the case at all. I'm kind of guessing. So. But to be quite honest, I probably will, when I pay a bill or two off, I probably will buy another one. And probably end up changing the tires over time. But I'm gonna get it, enjoy it on the best roads I can find, which I've actually recently found a few. Nice little subdivision they made. It's got a nice hill on it. And the roads are real clean, so it'll be perfect for that. But I really wish, and I hope, E-twoW sees this video and sees other videos that have talked about the wheels. The wheels, I mean, I get what you're doing. You're trying to make the lowest maintenance, and I mean, those things are tough. They're like little tanks that weigh 29 pounds. It's crazy how light they are, and the performance you get out of them. I got it up to 26 miles an hour, 25 and a half ish, and it's nuts on something that small. And you're flying, you know what I mean? And I mean, well, people probably ask, why not get one of those ones that you can do 35 or 45? Yeah. Number one, I don't need to go that fast, and number two, I don't have a garage to put it in because those things are like 90 pounds, 80 pounds, and I don't want to lug around something that big. I have an Oakham Quick 4, and that's my heaviest scooter. It's 47 pounds. I have no desire to go heavier than that. Maybe 50 to 55 pounds at maximum I would ever get, and like I say, I don't see doing much heavier than an Oakham Quick 4 that I have. So I guess really you now that you know why I returned it and the things I don't like about it, which being the rear spring suspension, kind of. Depending on your weight, it'll go low enough. And everybody I see ride it, they always got their back leg lower than the front. I just don't like that because you don't really have a choice of where your weight is going unless you intentionally make yourself put more weight on your front foot. Then it kind of changes your ride a little bit because you're off balancing yourself. So it's just kind of something to deal with. A catch-22. Maybe it won't happen as much in their booster models, which are different models, but they're shorter decks. So maybe that long deck is what makes that really happen. I don't know. It's just a thought. But that's the one thing I really didn't like. Obviously, the brake I didn't like because I didn't know if it was malfunctioning or it's supposed to be that way. Like an anti-lock feature is what I originally thought. You know, click, 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 click. You know, it's clicking like that because it's lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock, unlock. You know, so those are the things I don't like about it. The things I loved about it is just the rush you get when you hit the gas, you hang on. You know, like I said before in previous video, when you're riding these things, man, don't water ski. Don't hang on to that handlebars because people have broke them. There's a guy saying, "Oh, these things are garbage." You know, that guy was probably water skiing, and what I mean by that is hanging on the stem, having all your weight. If the stem is relying on trying to hold all your weight, that's a lot of wear on the stem. So what you want to do is put your body forward while you got that rush of energy, you know, and you're flying forward. You want to have your weight forward with it. So adjust the handlebars down if you need to. That'll make it a lot easier to put your body forward and go with the speed, not react to it like, you know, hanging on for dear life like you're hanging on the stem. You put all that pressure on that stem, eventually something's going to happen. It's not designed for that. It's designed to roll with it and not. You don't want to use it as a handle to hang on to. It's just, that's not good. You know, hang on to it like that when you're braking. Don't do that when you're riding. But anyway, a little bit of rambling there. The things I do like about it is the super quality tough build. You know, very, very smart design in the parts they use. Like I say, there's still scooters out there that are very much like the evercross. I think it's EVO8E. It's very much like the Booster V model of E-twoW or used scooters. There's different companies that have them. There's a Mosquito by Fluid Free Ride. That's just like the GT, but with a slightly smaller battery. Cheaper battery, I think, too, but it goes for a couple $100 less too. It's a nice model. I could see myself possibly get one of those too, or one of those instead, because of the cheaper price, obviously, but the performance is going to be there because it has all the other parts. It's almost the same thing, just it's got Fluid Free Ride's name on it. But I guess that's pretty much it, man. I don't have a whole lot more to say on it, but that is the reason why I returned mine. And like I say, I will buy another one in the future, but I really wish that E-twoW would take what some of their customers are saying about the wheels and make at least a honeycomb tire option. Because a lot of guys are putting honeycomb tires on these, you know, where they do have a little more gush to them. You know, the solid tire is kind of ridiculous. You have so much little contact with the road that creates a problem, you know, in performance. So I would think that if they put a honeycomb tire on there, it's still going to be a lot less maintenance, and maybe make a hamburger style rim where one side comes off easier than the other side, and it's made for easy tire change. You know, in Motion has them. Highboy has a lot of their rims have that to where one side comes off real easy. Put your new tire on, no problem. It's really much of a quicker process. So I think if they did that, my gosh, those things would probably sell a lot better. They still sell really well, but I think I would probably buy a couple of them if they had that option. Just because of the ease of use, the fun you get from them. I mean, my gosh, it's so much fun. I would have that much more fun if I wasn't worried about the performance of the tires. The tires, I mean, straight up, the tires suck. They do the job, but the trade-off for the low maintenance is not worth the trade-off in performance, in my opinion. Even though I still would do it, you know. I'm going to buy another one eventually, but that is the reason why I returned it. So hopefully you guys dig it, and so yeah, just choose wisely. You know, like I said, when I do get another one, I probably will change to a honeycomb tire, because there's no give to these tires whatsoever, which adds to the vibration and noise. But the suspension aids that as well. So it's a whole different experience, whole different ride. You know, than a normal scooter with no Um, you know, like a scooter with no suspension and air-filled tires. It's going to be worlds different. So just a heads up on that. So anyway, I hope you guys like it, man. I'll see you next time, man. Have a good one. See ya.